Last week I had said to myself, and I said on the video, I said, is OTC back? Is the OTC ready for a revival and ready for these insane runners that we used to have? And it very well may be. So, today we're going to talk a little bit about that, some of the updates from last week's video. When we covered GEGI, as we say, it's GEGI hot in here, and but that thing exploded last week. Did not anticipate that. And I think what helps that is, when people share due diligence with others, they share this vision that they have, like, okay, this stock reminds me of this, or, not so much cross spamming or anything like that, but they talk about this stock and they're like, okay, this is where they're at now. This is where they're going to be. So look at the growth potential from here to there. So I think once that happened and people started buying in, it created that quote unquote FOMO, as people did not want to miss that opportunity for that run. And then, the company came out and they talked about BART manufacturing and, a bunch of other little news events and so forth. But it was nice to see, it was at 150% from where we talked about it. HIRU had a nice little bump, broke into the 40s. It's having some trouble, up around 0.05, which we'll look at the chart today. But yeah, I see a lot of excitement. I think everybody is really pumped, going forward into next week. We have a short week. We have 4 days. Today or this weekend, it's a 3-day weekend. But I've seen a lot of excitement. I've been talking to a lot of people, and people that kind of stepped away from the penny stocks are starting to dip their toes back in slowly and saying, okay, look, because we show them, we're like, hey, look, you were playing options, playing small caps, you got your 20%, but like, quote unquote GEGI just ran from trips to 0045. Like, if you would have put 10 grand in that thing at under 001, you would have made $30,000 in what, 2 weeks? So the opportunity is always there. And I got a nice compliment from somebody last week too. They're like, I like your videos. One, because, you provide information. You're kind of letting people decide, what you think is good, or, what they think is good, and I just provide these ideas. But, they were like, you don't sound kind of like pumpy and scammy like some of those other guys that do alerts. And, I try and tell everybody to get in early. Like, this is where the stock's at. You might have an opportunity to buy here. It's not like, oh, alert, buy this stock's gonna have news, it's gonna run, it's gonna short squeeze. Like, I don't do any of that. Like, it's just not for me. Not a financial advisor, just here having fun like everybody else. So keep that in mind. But we're gonna go over some of the charts today. We're gonna talk about some of the stocks that we talked about last week, plus 4 or 5 more that have a lot of opportunity, especially in the month of June. So really excited. So let me know in the comments what you're looking at, and let's go and jump into the video. All right, so let's go ahead and hammer these things out. So, last week we talked about HIRU and what an opportunity it was to get in the teens, under 002, as it's just been climbing and stair-stepping all the way up. It's having some trouble up here under 005. But as you can see, the company is just still buying back shares. If they had announced that back in, I think it was May, they're like, hey, we're just going to be buying shares for the next, X period date. And, that is really giving shareholders confidence to continue holding this and pushing it up to new heights. I would love to see this thing break a penny. I'm not saying it will. We need to see continuous buying volume, and the company has to communicate with shareholders saying, hey, beyond this buyback thing, which will probably fizzle off, this is what we're working on now. They talked about new customers, new lines, but to really get it over a penny, they're going to have to bring a big punch. But it's looking great. They did announce the lawsuit with Bayern has been dismissed, which, if you know how many shares it was, go and throw them down in the comments. I think it was anywhere from 150 million to 300 million shares, but that's great that's been dismissed, because now they can focus their attention, on driving revenue, driving product, and so forth. But, HIRU looking really good. Let's see it consolidate, between 38 and, upwards of the high 40s. And then, once it starts getting into that 60, 70 range, it's going to be fun to watch. So, I just wanted to cover that one. And, we talked about GEGI. It was 0017. We made the video. It exploded. I couldn't believe it. I think, some people got really excited about it. They're like, wow, this is right. This is what they're doing. Look at all these partnerships they're going to have. Look at their board of directors. Look at the team that they're building. this is not a TRIP stock. This is not a 002 stock. This reminds me of an early ILIS or, some of those stocks that have that really good DD that people feel confident in saying, wow, this could really make that big run from trips to penny to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 cents. Of course, we'll need continuous buying volume. Companies really gotta be on the ball, and not just go through and dilute and so forth. But I'll show you something in a second. But as he ran up super hot, RSI in the 90s, like it had to pull back. It really did. It had an incredible run, and then you could see 0025 is the new 9 MMA, and then we have 16s under here, but mid 20s should hold unless company goes silent for a while. Dip buyers really came in Friday, even on a slow day. I mean, it's constant selling pressure. People were selling out, 28, 29, 30. And then once the selling pressure eased off, buyers came back in, pushed it back up, almost closed flat. So RSI still in the 70s. So a couple more days of churning. I'd like to see it consolidate, anywhere. Personally, I don't want it to go down, but there's a possibility it could test 20s again. But in theory, I want to see it continue grinding up, and I want to see this company really come to life and see this thing go. But then, as we look at the weekly chart too, you can just see it. I mean, as far as the the 50 over here on the weekly 0026, it's always had issues up where around the 004 area. You can see the first run, what was it, back in 22 June? Oh, what is it, almost a year now? And then taper it off. Once it punched through into that 40, through that 60, this thing ran all the way up 2 cents. So we have so much upside from here, it's crazy. So as long as the company doesn't dilute, they keep providing information, and they start talking about contracts and so forth, this thing, I'm telling you, just like I said last week, it's one of my favorite stocks right now. But it is running a little hot, so I can't say, go out, buy. But we'll see what they provide us with over the summer. But I'm excited. And then I think we should see a PR next week. So this was their oldest PR. Well, not the oldest, but it's back from May 26th. There's so many Easter eggs in this that is just overlooked. It's crazy. So when they talked about the facility, the loan is projected to close and fund on or before June 15th. So that was 2 days ago. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see a PR next week stating that the loan is closed. I mean, we should. I don't see why not. So once that loan is closed, I'm looking for, what's next. What are they going to do with the funds? Are they going to build out machinery? Are they going to hire somebody else? Are they going to do testing? Will they let shareholders come on and do the testing? Are they going to show us pictures and videos? So a lot, in the pipeline that we don't know yet that, once they start communicating could be really cool. But look at this. After their initial investment in GEGI, or we'll call it GEGI, through the company's Reg A offering, 40 Brightwater LLC has shown increased interest in the company's business technology management team and business potential, and is making this credit facility available for the company's operations built off their glitter units. Glitter, whatever. Glitter. The purpose loan is a larger financial arrangement between ClearRock Sustainable Energy, and then I'll show you something about them down below, and then 40 Brightwater, and made for the purpose of part to establish business relationship between Genesis, ClearRock Energy to develop new business opportunities in Mexico, Nigeria, South Africa, Zimbabwe, where ClearRock Energy has subsidiaries and business relationships for purpose of securing new global market for Genesis Electronics. So this thing is way bigger than we all know. I mean, and usually when you see stuff like this run, you'll see the bashers come out and they'll like, oh, scam. It was quiet. People are like, oh, it's running, this and that. But I don't think anybody has really anything bad to say about this. And, Kevin DeMoe talks about this and that. But if they can get global partnerships, they start talking about contracts, they start talking about purchase orders, different countries. I mean, the sky is the limit for this thing. I'm telling you, I love it so far. Things can change quick, especially in OTC land. So, protect your risk and all that good stuff, but definitely keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on their PRs going forward. Really excited about this one. So the next I'm going to talk about, so kind of like I talked about GEGI and opportunities. Same thing I talk about HIRU. HIRU, and opportunities. Buy when people hate it. Buy when dilution is almost over. So we know CLNV, which is Clean Vision Corporation, is going through some dilution right now. We know a member of the IR team has stated that there was, 6-7 million, correct me if I'm wrong, if you want to toss it down in the comments, let me know, but that was sometime last week, and it had a lot of churning through that level. So, I mean, you could see back from November, we're at that 0.25 level right here where this wick was straight through. So it's right now being supported at 0.25. If it breaks, yeah, it could see 0.2. But as this people are buying this up, once this dilution ends, I think this is a crazy opportunity because people love this stock at 4 cents, 5 cents. As you can see here, how many runs, to 8 and 10, 12 has it made in the past year? So buying it at 2 cents, it's like, whoa, of course, why not? So I'm definitely going to be accumulating this one hard next week, as I think dilution should be over. And once it's over, if they do issue a PR and say, hey, the funding or the finance arrangement for this is done, and we're going to be working on this, I think investors will be comfortable, or shareholders would be comfortable to start buying it back up again. I think a lot of people did exit because they knew dilution was happening. They're like, I don't know where the bottom's going to be. So far, 0.25 is holding strong. We'll see. But just going through, look at the growth of this company, and it's just starting back from March. It's the televised lineups, the street. Clean Vision announced fully executed agreements to purchase, pursuant to $20 million Michigan pyrolysis joint venture product. Okay, growth. And then, as you know, we talk about this, and CU's upcoming interview in market site. Clean Vision completes acquisition of Clean Seas Morocco and begin rapid city expansion. Growth. So when you go through and read all these, the growth possibilities, from a long perspective or even short perspective, if you're going to kind of play the news, is crazy. And then just as recently, what was it, last week, Clean Vision's Clean Seas signed service agreement with Arizona State University's Walton Sustainability Solutions Service. The agreement defines mutual roles for $50 million waste to plastic green hydrogen facility. So they're doing it. I mean, they're growing huge, and they are facing some dilution right now. But once that's over, it should go. So this is one of my favorites down here. People, because I like a bargain. Who doesn't like a bargain, right? But people loved it at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I know there's a lot of unhappy shareholders, but I think that's going to turn around. As you can see, they have issued shares and so forth to grow, but just looking at all these news events, it's not going to stop. So once we get this bottom and start trending back upwards, I mean, we'll see what it does. Sky's the limit. So definitely one of my top ones that I'm accumulating as we near the bottom. And this is their Twitter. So if you want to follow them, because they're always, pushing out different updates and so forth at Clean Vision Corp. So definitely put them on alerts. That way you can see, what they're working on and so forth. So next one, I'll talk about GRCU. We talked about it in the last video, and I still really like it. As you can see, 0008, it's having this range where people are trading it between 888 and 0012. It's always had issues around 0012 to really push that. You can see where the wick went up here to 0015 and immediately pushed back down. They did have some debt, but same thing, as far as opportunity, I always talk about opportunity. So they say down here, GRCU, the company, is signing 5 different MOUs regarding next acquisition next week. Okay, so this was yesterday. So next week we should hear something. And then it says these acquisitions will be used preferred shares. So to me, that sounds like they're not going to be diluting with commons, so we should be safe. And then it says GRC, remember, post-company is intended to start. So after this merger happens, it says, remember, post the close, the company intends to start share buybacks. What do you think is going to happen when they start issuing share buyback PRs? It should explode. I mean, INT exploded, HIRU exploded. How is this one not? So, same thing down here. Near trips? I don't know what's happening. To me, I think this thing should be much higher, but we'll see. And then, once wish everyone an extended weekend, yada, yada, yada. So same thing. Follow their Twitter, for updates. Keep them on alerts. Look for their news resources. And let's see if we can ultimately get into, the 002 range and really make something out of this. So next one, talk about is IDVV. So this one has been, I'd say, a trader's dream. From when they started having news events and when they finally came pink current again and, that whole nine, it's a smaller share structure, so it moves good. And as you can see down here, it's had its little nice upward trend. And then, starting to fall out of that here at 0014. And so I know the company has had a decent amount of debt that they've been working through. But one thing I like, so this is their Twitter too, and it says we have open negotiations to sell a portion of our interest in the Baja Mexico project, yada, yada, yada. So they're constantly putting out updates, but what we need is, I would say, buying pressure. So what is going to cause this buying pressure? We don't know. But, they have an agreement they're trying to close. It says closing date on or before September 1st. Review of technology and potential patents by IDVV Council. Restructuring, elimination of corporate debt, and then zero debt will be issued for this transaction. But there also is a catalyst coming up. So they're launching the website dedicated to their AI developments by July 1st. So they're constantly putting out updates. They're talking about utilizing a combination of approximately $600,000 revenues and the acquisition restricted equity to secure this acquisition and reduce our corporate debt. So they're doing it right. But we just, once we see buying pressure, this thing can really move. I remember when I first came out of Pink and they started talking about AI, would it run 30s, 40s? So down here at 0012, 0015, 16, it's a good opportunity. This one's sneaky. So not too many people are talking about this. And look at this chart. I mean, you can't get down more bottom than here. So around the 002 range, and then it was weird because they were so quiet for so long. They just kind of hummed down here and just didn't really move. And I even tried to reach out to the company. It was like, hey, what's going on? You guys aren't Pink Current? Nothing. Completely silent. No clue what was happening. Then all of a sudden they started opening the floodgates. Like, we have news coming. We're this, we're that. And I was like, oh my God, this thing's gonna fly. But look at this PR from May. So this one could be a good one to accumulate, but we don't know when this is going to happen. So just read this. I mean, take a second, go through, read it, or you could read it on your own. But Emergent Health to spin out subsidiary Pharmazoo to its shareholders pursuant to an IPO underwritten by a nationally recognized investment banking firm. So they're doing, kind of like others have talked about, if you look through here and go through and read this, whether it's going to be the Amex or it's going to be NASDAQ, and it basically says no dilution to Emergent shareholders, they want to do a spinoff. So if they announce that a date for this spinoff or an audit and, as far as this banking firm, $10 million planned corporate financing transaction, this thing's going to explode. I'm telling you, it's going to explode. So it's not getting a lot of volume right now, so you don't need to go out and just buy. I could sit 002 and just collect shares slowly because same thing, this could be next year. It could fail. It could fall through. But also, when they talked about Pharmazoo creating a national platform, yada, 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 it says pro rata data, the shares of Pharmazoo as a dividend when record date is set. So I'll recover this again. So once they get that dividend date or that record date of when they are going to do their IPO spinoff, all over it. All in. Not all in, but, got to manage risk. But, I think it's going to be really exciting. So down here with what they have coming, we don't know when, but once they do announce it, it's going to fly. So, if you want to start picking some up, I, just been around 002 through 0022, 23, and then I'll just collect slowly. But same again, not a financial advisor, so don't listen to me. I'm just talking paper shares. Paper shares, baby. And then let's go through here. So, and then this is another one. They have an acquisition really getting ready to close. And I like it because of the share structure, but it's not getting a lot of buying power. And that's STEV. So put this one on your radar. I kind of poked up through here and now it's kind of trading between the 0024, 0031. But they talk about it's going to be in Whole Foods and it's going to be a $10 million acquisition and so forth, but it's just not getting a lot of buying pressure. So I still have that one on watch and, we'll see where that one goes. And then the last one I'm going to talk about today is AAPJ. This thing loves to run, but, it looks like they love to dilute too. Just being completely honest. There's a lot of red candles, but it loves to run. So it almost feels like an IR firm pushes it. But you can see 1 run, 2 run, and it's kind of channeling down here if we were to go through. But, it's starting to broaden out. And then you can see the bottom here, under 001 almost trips. So how many times has this thing ran in the last, year? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess 6-ish, 7. So we can see where it tweezer topped here at 004, 0042. So to me, this is a huge opportunity. And then, with that being said, they talked about working on a new website and developments. And then they said, happy Friday, everyone. Let's all have a wonderful weekend and an excellent week to come. So that tells me news is coming. At least that's what I think. I don't know if the news is going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be a hot dog stand. I have no idea. But this is a very thinly traded stock. And as you can see, once they start speculating with news, once they start talking about news, it's going to go. So I have that one on my radar as well. Especially down here under 001, 0012. I think it closed at 0014 though. I'd have to take a look. Let me know. But yeah, I mean, would it just hit 0018 the other way? So those are kind of the ones I'm looking at, especially for the rest of June. If there's any that you are looking at, definitely drop them in the comments because I'm always looking for trade ideas. So, just kind of recap, we talked about HIRU's Bay, as you would call it. It's been strong. They're doing it right, with everything they're doing. Not the sexiest thing in the world because it's water. But, you can't beat just being a part of a company that has this crazy growth with, these brands and so forth. GEGI, can't say enough about it. And then CLNV, opportunity. I want to come back to this in a few weeks after the dilution ends and after they start hitting some more PRs and what they're going to be doing next. And I'd be shocked if we weren't back in 03, 04 range or higher. Let's see, what else we got? GRCU. This one is so cool and so awesome, with everything they've been talking about doing. But, we need to see it break that 0012 range and just really have some power volume behind it. And then IDVV, see the website and the AI workings come at the end of the month. And then this transaction is going to close at the end of September. Plus, they talked about, refinancing corporate debt and locking that up. So they're definitely doing it right. Good opportunity down here. EMGE, no clue when that's going to happen, but when it does, it's going to go. It's going to go hard. And then STEV, STEV, Stevia Corp, keep that one on your eyes. AAPJ, this, like I said, it always runs. I don't know what it's going to do this time. I don't know when they're going to have news, but, it's a good opportunity down here. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, let me know what you're watching, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Peace.